We might be too young to have a spotted cow, but we are both diehard Packers fans.
I could talk about this for hours.
He was my legend. He was my quarterback one. Taysom Hill, forever in my heart.
We have a kind of a reputation of being the young and diehard fans. How is that, Dr. Pepper Taysom?
Amazing.
Okay, good. Let's keep it under 25 minutes, all right?
Guess what, guys? It wasn't a fluke. The Packers suck. Welcome back to the Underage Packers podcast episode. What are we even on now? Does it even matter?
No.
It doesn't even matter. That's the mood of this Packers season, as Packers dropped their third loss of the year to the New York Jets, obviously 27-10. Just overall an embarrassing loss. Big B, are you, it's Wednesday, it's midweek. Are you feeling any better about this one?
No, I still can't believe what happened Sunday, but I'm slowly getting to the point where I'm confident that this week versus the Washington football team, I will finally turn it around and do something. So I'm ready to be heartbroken. I'm officially at that point.
You're ready to be heartbroken. I see the path we're going along with your confidence, because it's been said every week the past 3 weeks, okay, this is the easy matchup for the Packers, though, easily win this matchup. Looking back at the schedule here, I remember very specifically, we were talking after Tampa Bay. We were like, okay, this was, a tough matchup against an NFC opponent in week 3. They got out of there with a win. And then we're like, oh, and look at these next 4 weeks. They got New England, New York, and Washington. That's an easy 4 wins. And now they've lost 2 of them and looked awful in the 1 win. So, hey, I am usually pretty confident about the Packers, but this is definitely the most pessimistic I have felt since 2018. Obviously, there was really no reason to feel pessimistic in the past 3 years unless you're a hater. But I am joining the hater side now, because I have a little hope that things can change. I mean, let's start off with one question that a lot of people have been asking, and that is, what do the Packers even do well? What is this Packers team even good at? I struggle to think of anything, because in years past, it was always, okay, just get the defense off of the field without making any mistakes. The offense will clean it all up. This year, I thought it was going to be the opposite, where the defense would clean everything all up and the offense would perform just average enough. But now I don't have any side of the ball to look forward to. Even special teams messed up all their momentum and confidence I had in them this week. I don't know. I mean, Big B, do you have an answer? What do they do well?
Well, they do that one thing well, the thing that they do on the other thing, and then the thing happens, and then boom,
Yeah. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything. There is nothing as a group that they do well. And
I mean, they're good at being inconsistent.
that is true. Except they were very consistent in this game against the Jets, that's for sure.
That is true.
And I think what's at the root of all of this, it's hard to blame it on one specific person, but Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers are at the top of that list for sure. But everybody on this team is performing way below expectations. Way below. There is not a single player besides Jair Alexander, maybe John Runyon, who is playing, Bakhtiari, that is playing better than they did last year. Most of these players are seeing severe drop-offs. Devondre Campbell, Aaron Rodgers, Rasul Douglas. Don't get. I mean, most of that's because Joe Barry. Most of that Rasul's drop-offs is because of Joe Barry misutilizing his talent.
Yes,
it's tough to watch. So this episode is unscripted because I want it to be that way. Okay. Let's look at this Jets game though. There was the first drive where they come out go 3 and out. The first play is awful, a run from AJ Dillon that goes into the dirt. Can't remember what happens on second down. And then on third down, we see the same Rodgers that we've seen weeks 1 through 5. He throws a pass that is almost intercepted for a pick 6, had it not hit the ground, but just an awful, inaccurate pass to Robert Tonyan. And then pretty much after that, we knew how the game was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most telling thing, as I'm looking up the box score right now, the most telling thing about how this game was going was the fact that in the middle of the third quarter, the Jets blocked Pat O'Donnell's punt because of coverage being exposed. I believe that was Dalton Leavitt who missed his block there. They missed that block. The Packers go down just 17-3. And right there in the third quarter, we're like, game over. That's it. Because this Packers offense has nothing left in them. They might have a good drive that can get them into field goal range. That's just about it. Scoring 2 touchdowns in 1.5 quarters. Ooh, that's too much to ask of our highest paid quarterback in football. That's too much to ask of our offense, apparently. They can't do it. That was just the most telling thing to me, the fact that we knew right then and there. And as Ryan Wood tweeted out after that, he put it very perfectly. I need to find it here. That in years past, and he's kind of stating the obvious there, but in years past, 14 points would have not been anything at all. But that is not that. We are past that era. It is not that time for the Packers anymore.
It's so depressing to think about how good this offense was just 2 years ago. And now we're sitting here talking like we can't even score two touchdowns in what, a quarter and a half of football. Like that is just really, really sad to think about.
And it's so mystifying to me too. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And, people will tell you it's Devontae Adams, but I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that that's entirely the case. And I think, we can't talk about the bad performance on offense without mentioning the offensive line, because that was horrendous by everybody not named David Bakhtiari. I mean, Royce Newman, bro.
I mean, when you get benched for Jake Hansen, you are having an awful day.
Oh, man.
Like, that is embarrassing if that's on your record, the getting benched for Jake Hansen.
Yeah, killing 2 linemen with 1 stone there. Wow. Yeah, I mean,
they're just getting on my nerves, man. I'm tired of them.
Yeah, I get you. Well, the frustrating thing with the O-line is that it seems like they have the talent to do it. Like, I mean, why Jake Hansen was our number 1 replacement for Royce Newman is confusing to me when they have Zach Tom and plenty of other people are capable. I want to bang my head against the wall watching this offensive line play, and the fact that Matt LaFleur just doesn't try something different. Like, I would say it can't get worse, but we learned our lesson and the danger of saying that when it came to Packers special teams. But I try something different, plug something else in there, because this clearly is not working. They have a few other combinations that I think are at least worth a shot. One of them is because Elton Jenkins is not doing great at right tackle. He did solid against the Giants, but he was back to how he was performing with that same old rust at right tackle against the Jets. Move Elton back to his natural position, and you got the left side of the line, including Josh Myers most of the time, that's pretty shored up, right? And you got Aaron Rodgers blindside protected, and you roll with that. Then on the right side, what do you see your replacement for Elton at right tackle? You throw in Josh Nijman, who has played plenty of offensive tackle, including right tackle at Virginia Tech. Right guard, you have John Runyon. Can he play over there? You have Royce Newman, maybe Zach Tom. I don't know, man. It's frustrating.
Well, I mean, they got 3 weeks to figure this out before Mr. Big B comes knocking on 1265 Lombardi and telling the coaching staff what's up.
You better have this written down on everything that you need to tell them what's up.
Yes.
You just got to walk in there and act like you know what you're doing. You gather them all along. Well, you just got to look professional. And you tell a guy, hey, can you tell Matt and Joe and Adam they got a meeting in this room right here at 3:00. Meet me there.
Yep.
And you got your slideshow going with all your clickers and everything. That's going to be sick.
Yes.
Somebody needs to get on that. So offensive line is obviously a problem. It's destroying the run and pass game. And this was the first game where I agreed with the people who, for some reason, are haters of the run game and want to say they can't run. They don't need to run. Running won't fix the problem. This was the first game where I got where they were coming from, because it would be, the run game clearly wasn't working. And Aaron Jones getting only 1 carry in the first half still is not enough. And I think they're, the type of runs they're using A.J. Dillon versus Aaron Jones on, I think they need to relook at that too, for sure. And I don't know, man, but Quentin Williams just wrecked this game for the Jets side of the ball. Ahmad Gardner, I mean, that was just a top tier defensive back performance. So I guess this leads to another point too, that the Jets and Giants are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Are we allowed to say that? Like, they're pretty good, even though they shouldn't have beaten the Packers. They're all right. They've got a lot of talent.
I mean, the Jets I feel like, are getting a little bit overrated this week.
Right.
But I gotta admit, they are a very decent football team, and they could do things.
Yeah, definitely in the next few years. And Zach Wilson, though, he had a PFF grade of, I want to say it was 31. A 31 PFF grade. That's pitiful. And he didn't even honestly have that bad of a game, at least from the looks of it in the stat sheet. But Zach Wilson having that game, and but Breece Hall and Michael Carter killed us, especially in the fourth quarter. That was another dagger to add on to it. I don't know, man. There's just a lot that went wrong in this Jets game. The special teams having a missed field goal and then a blocked punt. God save us all. Rich, man. I don't know, man. I don't see the way up for the Packers, but that doesn't mean they can't turn it around, because I just feel they're doing such a bad job of adjusting to teams. I feel like they're just trying to run out the 2020 offense, which has different personnel. They're trying to run that out, and they are just so rigid in that. They're so unwilling to change at all. And like I said last week, you don't have Devontae Adams, so play like it. Play call with like it. Like, you realize you don't have Devontae Adams. I definitely think the loss of MVS is kind of not being talked about enough too, because we've seen Rodgers struggle with the deep ball, and part of that's on him. And part of that also is too on the defense, knowing there's really no threat of a receiver that can burn them over the top. I think Watson or Dobbs can get there eventually, but right now, that's not a problem for them. That's not a concern. And if Rodgers keeps throwing those deep balls like he is, they are not going to give two hoots about the possibility of a deep ball.
Like, has Aaron completed a pass like over 20 yards this season?
I mean, he had the one to Lazard on third down. That was really nice. But that's about it. That was the 1 in 20 opportunity that the deep shot on third down worked.
Yeah, I know. It's wild, because I just could not think of one to save my life. Every single one he's throwing, I feel like, has been incomplete.
The third down deep shot is, Big B won't get this reference because he doesn't have TikTok. But Rodgers says to the third down deep shot, like Carly Rae Jepsen, I'm coming back for you, baby. I'm coming back for you. Every time, man. I don't understand how he watches the film and still does not alter his decision making at all on third down. The first and second downs too, stop trying to get 10 yards in one play, because you set yourself up now where you get sacked on third down almost every single time. and your offensive line sucks. So, like, this is another thing of play with the team you have. If your offensive line, you see that they're playing awful, all right, I'm not a football genius. I don't know what you call in this situation. I know what I'd call Madden, but do something where you can get the ball out within a split second and just let your receivers do the work. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe they can't do those type of throws because they don't have the receivers to do it. But they have Aaron Jones. Like, get the ball in their hands and don't rely so much on the play developing and more so just on the players making plays. Jimmy and Joe's not X and O's, all right? That's at least my theory. Matt LaFleur, I'm hoping you figure it out against Washington this week, or else we're looking up a tough match against Buffalo Bills in Week 8. So, Big B, anything you want to say about the Jets game here?
I'm ready to flush it. I just cannot talk about this for very many more days.
Yep. Burn the tape. On to Washington, which is kind of an evenly matched team for the Packers. Washington, Carson Wentz, unfortunately for Carson Wentz and unfortunately for the Packers, suffered an injury last week. So it'll be Taylor Heineke coming out there for Washington, the Commanders, this week. Washington also has a very good defensive line. They have Jonathan Allen, and they also have some other talented pieces on that front seven. They have Daron Payne. So,
we're going to die. Yay.
Get excited, folks. That's their defensive outlook. On offense, though, there is nothing. There is nothing. Right? We watched that Thursday night football game against the Chicago Bears where it was awful. But there is very, very little outside of Terry McLaurin on this Washington Commanders offense. I just want to see. I don't even know who their running back is, to be honest.
Three, I think.
So Gibson, he's pretty good. He has 214 yards on the year, 2 touchdowns. This team Wentz has 10 touchdowns. There's a total of 3 rushing touchdowns. So a total of 13 touchdowns on the year. That ain't a lot, unless their defense got any. Let me see here. I doubt that. No. Okay. Defense doesn't have any touchdowns. So 13 total touchdowns on the year. Let's do some quick math here. 13 times 7. 91 points. 91 points Washington has scored in 6 weeks. So offense is not great. Defense of Washington, though, can be really good. They're outside of their defensive line, though. They don't have an Ahmad Gardner, at least to my knowledge. Hopefully we don't make somebody look like Ahmad Gardner this week.
Probably at this point.
Yeah. So outside of that, the Packers' biggest worry is going to be the defensive line of Washington. And they don't have to do much on defense besides mess it up. It's all we ask. Okay? And yeah, this game against Washington, I said against the Jets that it was going to be a make or break game for the Packers just because it was either going to show us that, the games against the Giants and the Patriots were kind of flukes or that it's time to hit the big red panic button. And I think most Packers fans have gotten to the panic button point at this point. But now I think if they play poorly against Washington, most of the league and fans will be saying writing the Packers off here early on in the season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Packers. Hoping they can turn around. Hopefully they have a 2010 style turnaround and end with a Super Bowl victory. But got a long way to go, folks. Long way. Let us know your thoughts or just a depressing rant about the Packers in the comments down below. We appreciate you watching, tuning in to this episode of the Underage Packers podcast, and we'll talk to you later. As always, go Pack Go.